So you're middle aged, lost your job in your 40s, 50s, or whatever, unexpectedly. 10 years before you're actually ready to retire, still got obligations, and it's been months. You haven't gotten back onto the employment train, the active income train, and it's been tough. I get where you're at, and I'm still on that train as well. But I just want to share some, I would say, adaptations that help me that might be helpful to you as well in terms of mindset and how to approach this challenging times, and kind of just to reset where you're at and not fall down in a spiral. So again, Dave here, and I hope that you found this video at a time where you need it, and I hope you get to achieve and experience whatever it is that you might need to get yourself back in the feet. I wish you all the best. So let's get started. So the first thing is, I think there is a cycle that we all kind of go through after whether you voluntarily left and thought that you can get back in the job market, or you got retrenched and laid off, or whatever it might be in 2026. And there's a lot of rhetoric right now going on in terms of like corporate layoffs, especially if you're in tech or in finance, that everything is because of AI and whatever. The first thing that I would try to do as much as possible is not to fall into that rabbit hole of whose fault is it really. Because honestly, at the end of the day, if you kind of look at how the work environment, capitalism, companies work, whether it's a big company or a small company, at the end of the day, everything is about generating revenue, what's best for the business, etc. As an employee, no matter how good your boss might be, how well-meaning the organization's mission might be, at the end of the day, as an employee, you're an expense, right? You are a human resource. So accepting that fact, and rather than just like finding a reason or finding a specific thing to blame, whether it's the economy, whether it's politics, whether it's technology, or even the general notion of corporate human greed, they're all true and they're all valid, but does it really do anything for us? And the answer really isn't, right? Being mindful of that, I think, would be quite helpful. I know that including this video, you probably stumbled into this as a YouTube algorithm rabbit hole of older people talking about retrenchment, retirement, job loss, etc. But at the same time, this algorithmic pattern of news and content that we absorb is very much triggered by similar thinking, by some sort of a confirmation bias mechanisms that we should be aware of. So be wary of that, and I would say that for me at least, like when I kind of stopped putting the blame of companies having short-sighted ambitions, the senior leaders are riding on tech hype or topic hype, to get their agenda in. At the end of the day, I've worked long enough, I've been in levels high enough to know that that is the game, like the reason why you got your previous job is probably because you were playing, you were playing that same game as well. It's just that you were benefiting from it, not on the other end of it. So knowing that and just understanding that playing the blame game, finding the culprit, so to speak, doesn't really help anybody, especially yourself. So what can you do instead in that regard? I guess I don't know, because I'm not, I don't proclaim to have any sort of insider expertise in this. I don't think anybody should. But at the same time, maybe just kind of realign yourself and knowing that, okay, this is what, this is how the game is being played right now. How can I capitalize in this? Do I want to hop back into this game, or do I want to just, play another game altogether? That's really up to you. I think that kind of at least sets you in the right path rather than getting sucked in. So number two would be relatively related to that, is where to put your energy. I think a lot of, whether it's well-meaning or not, for example, if you work for a large company, you probably got this quote-unquote benefit of outplacement agency services, where they assign you to like a career coach, outplacement agency, or even your government might be doing their effort and providing you assistance in terms of reskilling, job fairs, and all that stuff. Understand also that this is also an opportunity, especially at our age right now, to kind of think about whether is it something you want to continue doing, your previous role, or is it something you want to pivot out of and accept whatever consequence you want to do with it. A lot of times these outplacement agencies, these consultants and stuff, they're doing their job, but I don't think they really know what they're doing, simply because most of these consultants are not employees themselves. They're independent contractors who are probably doing this on the side as a part-time thing. They have probably never applied for a job for the past like 5-10 years. They are probably not involved in, let's say, just for context, in my case, like in tech, for example, they may be yapping a lot about how to optimize your CV using AI and how important AI is and this and that, how important this technology is and that technology is. Honestly speaking, I don't think any of them knows crap about the most basic of these things, other than what they hear from a conference or, from a short news blurb about it. They probably have no idea how LLM works, how tokenization and all that kind of mumbo jumbo works, especially they don't know how it is being used in the real world, right? It's all very like high level marketing type of hype. So be wary about where you're getting help from, right? So if you get into that rabbit hole of, AI right now in 2026 is the thing, and you waste a lot of time, energy, and probably money as well getting reskilled on trying to learn all this, it probably is a waste of time, because if it's not already a part of your core skills or a part of your core industry. So be wary of that, and maybe it might be a good time to either double down on what you already know or what you're good at. And if you are really, really thinking about shifting to something new, accept the fact that you will be starting from almost ground zero. You'll be the most junior of juniors at 40 or 50. So kind of think about the possibility of actually getting a job in that, and you realize that it might not be worth your time and effort unless you really just want to learn, and that's totally fine. And if you really just want to learn all these stuff, especially from tech tools and those kind of topics, there are like tons of official content out there, again, we're sticking to AI just because it's popular right now. Things from Anthropic, from Google, from Microsoft, whatever it might be. They have their own like quote unquote official learning programs that are free, up to date, and will probably like be a lot more useful than any training centers that will just regurgitate outdated stuff to you. So number 3 is that be kind to yourself. Understand, like what I said in the first point, it is not anybody's fault directly in terms of what is going on with the job market, why you got retrenched. But more importantly, it is also understanding it's not your fault. It took me a long time to kind of accept that. I accepted the fact that it's not my fault why my role was removed. I think even when I first joined, I kind of saw the writing in the wall because of just the logic of how the team was being built, the whole new management coming in, and everybody has their own, all the senior level guys have their own agendas that are honestly quite obvious if you've been in the management corporate space for quite some time. So it wasn't really something surprising for me. So I understand that part, that it's not my fault. I'm okay with that. But what really crept in terms of like self-doubt was trying to get back into the workforce, and either getting ghosted, or all you see are job postings on LinkedIn with like 100 people clicking apply within a matter of minutes, or just getting auto rejections and just getting ghosted after a couple of rounds of interviews. I understand that it is very natural to start self-doubting whether or not whether or not you actually still have value in the workforce, providing to a company or to an organization. And it gets worse when you kind of decide that, you know what, I'm not going to chase money, I'm going to chase values, I'm going to chase passion, I'm going to chase a cause that I want to contribute to. You're willing to downgrade like 2, 3, 4 levels down, regardless of pay, just for a reset, and you still don't hear from anybody, and that really drains your emotions and your psyche, as well as your self-confidence, and that is natural. We're all human beings. But having said that, understand that again, it is not your fault. A lot of times these companies or these organizations, for example, they don't know what they want either. They either just have a budget that they know that they need to hire people, or they realize, oh, we need somebody to do this. We don't really know what the skills are or how much is it really worth to employ this person to do that skill. And you'll see that a lot more common with smaller companies, or departments with smaller resources, or in industries that are being squeezed at the moment. They will ask you in the JD to do everything from mowing the lawn to washing the dishes to handling a P&L for a $10 million account. And they'll pay you, they'll pay you 2 times the McDonald's rate. And that would be very, very common. And even if you would accept that, now they start questioning, why would somebody accept this? This does not make sense. So, just accept, just understand the fact that a lot of these employers really don't know what they're doing either, right? We're all there in this space where we want an income, we want to get back into the workforce, or at least, have some resemblance of normalcy based on what we know. And it's easy to let ourselves go and let other entities that have more say to take advantage of us. And I think over the long term, we might find ourselves, just burning out again, and that will show with our work, that will show with our attitude, that will show with our health and energy, and we might end up in the same loop again. So just be mindful of that. So I want to end this video by just saying that hang in there and be kind to yourself. It is easy to say, but it is supremely hard to be kind to yourself. Our peers, our family, and loved ones will do their best to do so, but at the end of the day, until we kind of know what will make us feel better, it is going to be a tough road. And if we suck ourselves into that negative spiral, it will be difficult for us to see the smallest of light that might be peeping out in the darkness that we are facing, trying to get our lives back to path, or whether it's a new path or the old path that we want to get back into. So that's all I have to say for today, and I hope you find some good news in your journey. And until next time, Dave here again. I hope to see you again. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you have anything you want to share on this topic, whether it's a challenge that you're facing, or you have any tips, you have any good news that you found a job, or you found a better path towards retirement. Please let me know. I would love to read it. And until then, I'll see you again. Dave out.